Welcome, everybody, to Today in Prophecy Daily News in 15 minutes or less. And yes, I am in Israel. Lots of things to update you on. But first, before we get going, I want to remind you, if you're in Southern California this Sunday, October 13th, Hananiah Naftali is going to be in 412 Church in person. He's Benjamin Netanyahu's social media influencer, representative. He speaks on behalf of Prime Minister of Israel. So he's going to be at 412 Church in Temecula, California, this Sunday night, October 13th, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Be there if you can. And it's going to sound weird, but I'm going to be there too. Wait till you see how that's going to work, because there is just incredible things that can be done. Listen, it's going to be a great time. Again, 5 p.m. And don't forget about the End of the World Conference, but let's get going, because certainly things are seeming like the end of the world. Check this out. Lots to talk about. We're going to get to Israel. But look at this. Watchdog finds that U.S. hospitals made $120 million. You ready for this? From sex changes on children. And I know that's not a shock to any of you, but that's the reality of it. We'll come back to some of these things. Get this. When you start looking at end times, German government is rushing through a security package to expand biometric surveillance. How long have we been talking about this? They're rushing it through. Do you not think it's strange that all of these things are culminating at the same time? Let's think about it in this context, right? So Israel becomes an official nation in 1948. What's happened ever since then? Ever since then, there's been anti-Semitism. Today we were down in Gaza. I thank you for your prayers for that, and had an incredible time with some of the people that we met, the lives that have been lost, some of the just unbelievable to be able to minister, but also how much people just are hoping that people don't forget them, that they'll come down here and visit them. It was really an amazing time. But if you think back to 1948, ever since Israel was declared as a nation recognized by the UN and the U.S., what's happened? There's been unbelievable anti-Semitism, wars against Israel nonstop. Right now, we are in a constant state of war. Brandon Holthouse said a few weeks ago when we were on his channel together, he said, from this time forward, Israel's just going to be a constant state of war, which I agree with, except for there's a peace plan coming. We know from Ezekiel 38 and also from Daniel chapter 9 and Isaiah 28 that there will be a pseudo-peace, a false peace. We're going to get into that in a minute because Terry James wrote some remarkable things that we need to know about that. So we see these things that are taking place right now. Why are they all happening at the same time? I'll tell you why. Because the enemy of our souls knows the super sign for the convergence of all things in the last days is the regathering of the nation. So what's he see? 1948, Israel's regathered. What does he have to do? The enemy of our souls, Satan, has to step up his attacks against the Jewish people and against Israel. That is what's going on. That's why he stepped up his attacks against him, even if you don't believe it, even if you have friends that don't believe it, I should say, or churches or pastors or whoever it is that doesn't believe it. Satan believes it because he knows what God said. In the last days, Israel will be gathered back together as a nation. So many people are saying this isn't a sign. Satan knows it's a sign. So think of that as we go through these things. All right. So we have also, along with Germany, rushing through the security package, wanting to keep us safe, to expand biometric surveillance. Check this out. The UN blueprint to control the internet and silence dissent. In the Rare Foundation article, a blueprint, silence dissent. In other words, anybody who says anything against the narrative, this globalist government that's coming. The title of the head of this article says digital gulag. That's what they want to put you in. We have the Chinese social credit system, and then we look at something like this, digital gulag. So again, why are all of these things converging at the exact same time? It's not a coincidence. The Bible told us it would be this way, and certainly we are seeing all of this. And there's more. So Gallant, over here in Israel, says, when we respond, Iran won't know what happened or how it happened. I'm just waiting, talking to different people out here, just waiting to see what is going to happen next. I want to pull up an article here for you guys because it's powerful. It was written by Terry James. I got to find it here. I'll find it here. Just give me a second. I had it here a minute ago. Here it is. Out of Rapture Ready, he writes, he says, Paving Antichrist's Pathway to False Peace by Terry James. I just written the other day. So here we are. We're in Israel. Tomorrow Yom Kippur begins. Time of fasting, the holiest day of the year for Jews. And then after that, you go a few days later, they're going to start the Feast of Tabernacles or Sukkot. You look at all of these different things that are happening. By the way, I want to mention this before I get into the peace plan, that I mentioned that Hurricane Milton may reach a 6. I mentioned that in the TIP yesterday. Last I've been able to check, it looks like it's going to be less than that, still going to be damaging. But listen, we keep praying. As we mentioned, this is what we do. We pray. God can change all of these things. But unbelievable, all these things are happening. Okay, back to Terry James. And all of these things happening here in Israel. Again, it's not a coincidence. Satan knows. The super sign is that Israel will be gathered together as a nation again. Here we are. Okay, he says this. Terry James says, Jesus said in his Olivet Discourse, as recorded in the Gospel, according to Luke, that there shall be upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity. Quoted that many times. Now, deep into 2024, it becomes increasingly obvious that peace in the Middle East is foremost on the minds of leaders of the major world powers. Distress over the possibility, even the probability that nuclear conflict might eventuate in the region causes perplexity of the most crucial sort. Absence of peace in the world, in particular in the region surrounding modern Israel, creates at this late moment in the fleeting age a vacuum into which the prophesied end of days leader will one day vault to power. Antichrist will climb onto a platform of peace from which to launch his most terrible campaign conquest. We get some idea of this supernaturally imbued man's spectacular rise and reign through the Old Testament prophet Daniel, or Daniel writes, Daniel chapter 8, verse 23 through 25. In the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding, dark sentences, shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. So the holy people in this context, talking about the Jews, again, it's not a coincidence. Satan knows the super sign is Israel being gathered back as a nation again. When you read this about the holy people in the Old Testament, it's talking about the people of Israel. Holy meaning set apart. God has set apart Israel for his purposes, the Jew for his purposes. And through his policy, Daniel 8 continues, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace he shall destroy many. Then Terry James continues, and thank you, Terry James, for this article. It's fantastic. A strange, deadly peace is prophesied to serve as a launching pad for the beast, as he is termed in Revelation 13. Paul the Apostle, a prophet, gave dire warning about the esoteric peace that will pervade in the days approaching the time of the end. For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction will come upon them, as birth pains upon a pregnant woman, and they shall not escape. So Paul said this, murderous peace will come immediately following the thief in the night, break in upon an unsuspecting world of Earth's inhabitants. This refers to the resurrection and translation of the saints in the age of grace, aka the rapture. So you start looking at this in context. Terry writes, the apostle Paul, as he did in speaking of the rapture in 1 Corinthians 15 and 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, used personal pronouns to indicate exactly whom he is prophesying about. Concerning those alive at the future time, Paul used we, us, and our to indicate church-age saints, and they, them, and those to indicate the lost. The unbelievers will be left behind when the rapture takes place. I want to focus on that because, folks, I'm telling you, when you look at talking to more and more people here in Israel, I'm so glad that we are here. I'm so glad that we came. And repeatedly, I'm talking about just people in Israel as a whole. They're so thankful that we're here. The economy is terrible. The world, they know the anti-Semitism is everywhere. And they're so thankful just to know that we came and we care. And I know that I told them how many people we have that watch, that appreciate and love Israel, stand with Israel, pray for Israel, want to support Israel. And they're so thankful for that. But at the same time, there's this overarching thought of peace. We need peace. You know, we're living like this. It's the constant barrage of rockets. We've got enemies that are constantly against us. They're convinced they're going to win against Hamas and Hezbollah. I am too. But the problem is they need to live in peace. The time is coming as the Jewish world is being set up right now for any man who can come along. And he has the clout, he has the ability, he's got the charisma, he's got all of these things that Daniel talks about, Revelation talks about. He's going to say, listen, if I can make the anti-Semitism go away, I can guarantee you peace. If it's somebody that they know, this guy really can do it. If anybody's going to do it, he's going to. I can make the anti-Semitism go away. I can guarantee you peace. In fact, I'll even work out where you guys can have a temple on the Temple Mount. I'm telling you, the sentiment is we will take it. We want to live in peace. We want to get along. And we understand that Israel is being set up for that. The world is being set up for that. Praise God that we know, Romans chapter 11, blindness in part has happened to Israel until the fullness of Gentiles has come, and then Israel will be saved. So God is turning his attention again towards Israel. Let this be a sign to you guys and girls out there. Hey, we're winding down. We have this super sign. Satan knows it's a super sign. It's the nation of Israel. Let it be a sign to you, an understanding we live in amazing days. Listen, thank you for joining me. And I want to remind you again, October 13th, this Sunday, Naphtali, 412 Church, Temecula, going to be incredible. Wait till you see how I join. And then also, listen, we have some more exciting things coming here from Israel. Not going to tell you about all of them yet. It's been an amazing time here. God bless you guys. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And also, listen, I recorded, I was on Tim Thompson's program with Eric Stackelbeck and myself. Check it out. You're going to love it. God bless you guys. And we will see you next time.